Greetings from Shed Sound Studio here in rural West Virginia. My name is Ian Beabout, and today I thought I would tell you about a newly announced box set from Jethro Tull and Steven Wilson. And this is the A la mode edition. So, A is the 1980 record released by Jethro Tull. It was originally conceived as an Ian Anderson solo album, and I think all of the tapes were labeled simply A. I think what happened was the record company heard the recordings, which did include Jethro Tull members Ian Anderson, Martin Barre, and Dave Pegg, along with newcomers Eddie Jobson and, of course, Mark Craney. And I think the record company heard it and said, you know what? This is marketable as a Jethro Tull album. You should release this as such. And Ian Anderson followed what was probably some poor advice and went ahead and released it this way as the new Jethro Tull album, which resulted in some very bad feelings on the part of Dee Palmer, John Evan, and, of course, Barry Barlow, because they found out through the press that they had been fired, which was kind of very ugly and hurt a lot of Jethro Tull fans. And I think it hurt this album's initial reception. Of course, over the years, I feel like Tull fans have had a good 40 years to reassess this work. And it still is an album of some controversy. It seems like some people seem to think that it's the end of Jethro Tull or the beginning of the end of Jethro Tull, because it does include a more electronic approach, whereas Jethro Tull's music up until that point had been rooted in the blues or folk music or progressive rock. So when this album comes along and is kind of like an electronic progressive new wave album, I think it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And this is unfortunate. And I hope that this new edition, which is, I mean, this is like one of the most highly anticipated releases of the year for me. I'm hoping that this new edition, when it comes out in this remixed package, will give listeners a chance to reassess this work and hopefully see it for what it is and not what it isn't. So this isn't a review of it. Of course, I haven't heard it. But I can tell you that I own all 12 Jethro Tull remixes by Steven Wilson up until this point, and they have been nothing short of exemplary. And that includes the packaging, the artwork, the booklets, the interviews, the remixes, and the surround sound mixes, and the extras. They've all been exemplary, and something of a dream come true for this long-term Jethro Tull fan. So what do we get in this package, you might be asking? What justifies a $50 price tag for Jethro Tull's A album? Well, I'll tell you. In addition to the complete album remixed, we also get, 5 additional tracks, including Crossfire extended version, Working John, Working Joe, take 4, Cheerio early version, Koruisk, which is a track that I've never heard about. This is going to be an entirely new experience. And of course, the Slipstream Intro, which is on the Slipstream concert. We'll get to that in just a minute. So what do we have here? Crossfire extended version. You know, if this is anything like the Dark Ages extended version, we could see anywhere from 3 or 4 minutes added to it. It could be just a verse. Who knows? You know, this is something that holds a lot of possibilities for us hardcore fans. So I'm optimistic. Working John, Working Joe, take 4. Now, keep in mind, this will now be the 3rd version of the song released, because there was a version released on the Songs from the Wood box set a couple of years ago, and that was kind of incredible to hear. The idea that Jethro Tull were working on a song in 1977, of course, with that band, John Glasscock on bass, Barrymore Barlow on drums, and John Evans and Dee Palmer on keyboards and so on. So it was kind of exciting to uncover that. Now we get an in-between version, a version that's in between the kind of proto version, which is on Songs from the Wood box set, and the eventually released version, or at least that's my interpretation of this. It might actually be after the album take, which could also be interesting. Again, we have another early version. We have Cheerio, early version, a song that amounts to about 30 to 45 seconds on the Broadsword and the Beast album. I will be interested to see what this is. If it's longer, maybe it's shorter, maybe it's more elaborate. Because on the original album, it's basically just Ian Anderson accompanied by, I think, a little bit of flute. It's a very sparse track. So I'm actually very interested to hear what the early version of this is. So we have Koryuisk. This could be anything. Honestly, this could be a long-lost classic, for all I know. Or it could be just a random jam and a bunch of noises, like Ultimate Confusion on the This Was box set. I hope not. I hope it's something that's unique, possibly an instrumental. I would be even more excited if it weren't an instrumental, because hearing Ian Anderson's voice in his prime brings chills on the back of my neck as a long-term Jethro Tull fan. And so I kind of hope that it's not an instrumental. I kind of hope that this has lyrics. And of course we have the Slipstream intro, which is previously released as part of the Slipstream video, which is included in this package, by the way, and we'll get to that in just a second. So Disc 2 and Disc 3 are live at the LA Sports Arena in 1980. Now, once again, if you are familiar with the Slipstream video, this is the version of Black Sunday that appears at the front of that concert. So we have seen and we have heard of this. And if you are a bootleg person, which I can be, I do find them fascinating. This show has been available for years as a soundboard recording, and it sounds great. It's like Jethro Tull in fusion mode. Mark Craney is one of the all-time underrated Jethro Tull drummers, somebody who barely ever gets a mention when talking about the pantheon of great Jethro Tull musicians. And he adds like a whole extra level of musicality to Jethro Tull at this period. So, especially the tracks from the A album, but also older tracks like Hunting Girl really come to life with this band. So I'm excited to hear a cleaned up version, because the version I've heard is like a radio broadcast. It is a professionally recorded soundboard source, but there's some mixing issues. As Steven Wilson almost never remixes concert material, I'm pretty excited about this. I've actually been super critical of Jacko Jacksik's work on the Tull live material in the previous box set. So I think this is great that Steven Wilson is going to be helming this and bringing this concert into 5.1 surround sound. I think this thing is going to leap out of the speakers, or at least that's my expectation. I think it's going to be amazing. Honestly, that's one of the biggest draws of this set, is this 2-disc live in LA Sports Arena. And again, you have songs that were very rarely played live after this, like Black Sunday, Crossfire, Working John, Working Joe, Batteries Not Included, Uniform, and Protect and Survive. These tracks are all great on the bootleg recording, so I can't wait to hear this cleaned up and in audiophile level sound quality. Okay, DVD, original album, and associated tracks. And this does say that the 5 associated tracks have been remixed in surround. So that's pretty exciting. That's not always the case. Sometimes they can only find original, like Robin Black mixes of certain songs. So I'm actually really excited that they were able to remix the extra tracks in surround sound as well. And then, of course, DVD 3 Slipstream Video. Oh, I'm sorry. DVD 2, of course, is live at the LA Sports Arena, and DVD 3 is the Slipstream Video, which has newly remixed audio tracks by Steven Wilson. So we are getting the Slipstream Video with new tracks and surround sound. So this is really exciting. It'll be great to see this with that kind of presentation. Now, some people have asked why a la mode. Personally, I think it's a bit of a weak title, but I haven't been a big fan of the last couple of box set titles, to be honest. I wasn't big on the country set as a subtitle for Songs from the Wood, and I wasn't big on Force 10 being a subtitle for Stormwatch, or New Shoes Edition being a subtitle for Heavy Horses. So this does kind of continue the trend for underwhelming subtitles. But I feel like this is a reference to the LA concert, so you have A and Live in LA. And, of course, it is also a reference to Aqualung, Salvation, a la mode, and a cup of tea. So, yeah, suffice it to say, I am ecstatic, and I've pre-ordered my copy. I can't wait to get to it and to dive in, because I really think Steven Wilson's work on these Jethro Tull box sets has been nothing short of revelatory. So, all right, that's it for me for today. My name is Ian Beabout, and I hope to talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.